Hey, welcome to another exclusive interview with Real Shit Let's Talk podcast, man. Listen, a brother from another mother, man. Listen, I got this guy who is behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, he, Mr. Dynamic, Mr. Tevin, man. How you doing, boss?
I'm doing good, brother. I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Man, I'm doing all right, man. Blessed by the best and working on my stress every day.
Hey, that's all that matters.
You know, man, listen, you've done some pretty extraordinary things. You've been some extraordinary places. If you could go back in time right now, where would you, one place you could go right now, what would it be? To do what that you do now.
What do you mean by that? Because I can give you a different answer depending on what you.
Okay. So, all right. Let me ask it a little bit better there. If today's self could be somewhere tomorrow, where would it be and why?
If today's self can be somewhere tomorrow, man, probably on the beach somewhere, to be honest with you. Enjoying my time out of the country, more than likely. Taking more travel excursions. Usually when I'm doing stuff like that, I'm out for business and stuff like that, So just taking some time to self, be with my loved ones, be at a nice beach, eat some good food. It's always the goal. It always feels like I'm working towards the downtime, I guess.
Okay. When you're doing these like destination, like work stuff, do you have any time to self?
I usually just allocated time here and there, but it really just depends on how many days I got out there. I think the last trip I had wasn't even like too recently, but I went out to Arizona and we were only out there for like maybe 3 days and we shot all 3 days, so it wasn't like they had too much time. And then time before that, I went to Vegas and I did have like maybe a night that I could, go out, gamble, see a show, like the last night we were out there. So, it's really just a matter of like, if the time permits, is there stuff we can do? Or if not, we're just going to handle the business and then, go home. Because honestly, even going home is still taking time to yourself. So just however you can manage it.
I like that. So owning or being your own media group, what are some of the challenges that you face on the regular or have you faced?
Honestly, I would say some of the biggest challenges is knowing how to upscale, for one. Just hiring the right people. It's easy to hire anybody, but just hiring the right people just based on your personal interests, your goals for your business, and just where you're trying to go has been tough. We had to let go of a couple of editors, hire new people to take their spots, stuff like that. And then the biggest thing is just maintaining just not only the relationships that I have, but building new relationships as well. Just getting out there, being out in the forefront, even in the days I don't have anything booked, and just constantly connecting with people on just deeper levels and just strictly transactional,
And so you might run into like those only one-time clients.
For sure. Plenty of times. And honestly, it could be a one-time client, but it doesn't mean that we can't have more than a one-time relationship, like a long-term relationship building with each other. It may just not necessarily mean that we do business with each other, but we can still collaborate. We can still communicate, just knowing to build a good relationship, and whatever business comes with that will come with it regardless.
I got you. I like that, man. Question. Is that Phantom there going to make a difference?
We'll fix that in post, brother. See, all right. So y'all don't know, I'm Tevin, no Chapo friends call me Chop.
Chop
of Chop House Media Group, where we do the podcast in the box done for you podcast. This is currently the setup that we have in place right now. You probably won't hear any crazy noise because we already fixed it in post, but that's pretty much what we do, man. We fix people's podcasts, we adjust people's podcasts, we strategize for the podcast, we shoot, we edit, produce. Everything that you need to run a successful production, and sometimes we even come in and be guests, so if you need a guest for your podcast, feel free to hit me up too.
Listen, and that right there just, hey, that's how you know what you're doing and it's authentic to your craft. Man, I like that. That was dope.
Appreciate it, brother. I appreciate you. Even like having me on your platform. I appreciate it. I see you've been doing a lot of great things, even in just the interviews that we've done together. You're doing amazing stuff out here, and I appreciate you even being here.
Yeah, man. Listen, I think more than anything, just having that connection, like a brotherhood type of thing where like I can ask you questions and it might be the same question, but you answered it every time. Like you was like, oh, I don't know, or I can't do it. You was like, yo, listen, this is the way I would go about it, but now do how you see fit. Like you always give a solid answer and a solid resolution, man. I appreciate that, man. Like you're a real stand up guy and make sure that, hey, this is what I said. This is what I mean. That's it. And it's all business. Like when you have a business, and that's why I think people get confused sometimes, is when you have a business don't always happen the way that you want it to. You know what I'm saying? Like you told me today, hey, the show still must go on, man. Business is business. Hey, you got the time, you might as well use it. And we using it, man. So I appreciate that. If you could shoot for anybody right now, what would be your top 3?
Ooh, dang, shoot for anybody right now.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's crazy.
But the top 3 now.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying.
In that good order. Go ahead.
Oh, that's a tough one, gang.
Coming in number 3.
Only 3. I mean, honestly, I've been blessed with so many great opportunities to meet so many amazing people. Even like some of the people I haven't worked with, I know the people who do work with them production wise. So, shout out to all my fellow videographers, photographers, editors, all my creatives out here. Man, I mean, it'll just be people I always just wanted to meet in general. So for one, I always want to say 2 Chainz. He's the first.
2 Chainz.
Number 3, rather. Shout out to him and his son. They doing big on their podcast. Like I said, I know the people who do the production for that podcast. So shout out to them. Make sure you watch them, check them out too. Oh man, only 3 though.
Okay, you want to do top 5?
Even 5. I'm like, man,
see, look,
so many people, man.
Right.
I would start naming just even like I've been such a big fan of like hip hop in general, hip hop culture. So just a lot of people in those spaces, like even like when who is it, Cameron and Mace, when they do It Is What It Is, they podcast. I would love to be a part of that production somehow. Big Chris always been my favorite rapper. If I ever get a chance, I met him last year. I was an extra in one of his music videos, and that was a dope experience. So if I ever get to meet Crit, if I can see you again, brother, you know what I'm saying? You ever need a podcast, holla at me. And then I will say J. Cole too, man. I gotta say, I know it's kind of, we don't want to talk too much about Cole because of that whole Kendrick situation, but
yeah,
he's still a stand-up dude. I personally wouldn't have took the approach he did in that situation per se, but I'm still a big fan of his, and I think that he has a lot of game that he can give to the zeitgeist that he doesn't always do because he's so closed off. I think he's been more outward with like the features and everything he's been doing.
Right.
But yeah, just be able to shoot anything with him. A lot of his visuals have been super dope too, so that'll probably be my 3. I could probably name a bunch of other people like rappers or other celebrities or just, people like that.
That's going to be awesome. In your line of work, what is the number one thing that you have to remember the most when you're running your business?
The intangibles, to be honest, the intangibles that coincide with really anybody's business. A lot of the stuff that I learned just from working 9 to 5s that I kind of adapted into my business.
Okay.
One, you want to show up on time as much as possible. There's going to be times where you can't do it. I understand. If possible, you got to be on time as much as humanly possible. For one, you always want to make sure that you're presentable every time that you show up. However you want to be presented. So like today, I'm just wearing like a casual polo type situation. Usually I would wear like a branded shirt or something like that. But you are, especially as like solopreneurs, as we try to grow and stuff like that, we start to realize like our image is our business just as much as our business is our business. So if people see you and you look bummy or you look less than, subpar or anything like that, then people are going to be less inclined to want to communicate with you or less inclined to do business with you. So that's another thing. And just being a man of my word more than anything, just if I can't commit to it, just be upfront about it. If I can, I'll do my best to make sure that I stand on it, So that's kind of always been my thing. Like those intangibles are like the things that will keep anybody in business. A lot of business fail because they don't always follow through with those intangibles. But it's just stuff that, when you incorporate your life outside of the 9 to 5 space, those are things that we don't necessarily think about, but those are things that were instilled in us back then. You know, like when I had a job, I used to work at Zaxby's. We had a uniform. You feel what I'm saying? So it's like we had the Zaxby's logo on the shirt. Like when we went to work, they knew we were there working. You know what I mean? We had to be there on time. If you was late too many days, you would get fired, right? Well, you can't fire yourself in your business, but you can deter your potential customer. So just doing a lot of stuff like that will definitely, and then just being a man of your word, like being a man of your word, just like can take you so far just in any part of your life. You know, just even I appreciate you calling me a stand-up guy. I never really look at it like that. I just look at it like, man, if I'm a commit, I'm a commit. You know, such thing as halfway crook. So,
man, guess what, guys? I got something just exclusive for you. A 21-day accountability challenge workbook, man. Check this out. This is full with knowledge, and it helps you change those habits in just under 3 weeks. Momentum, love, speed, man. Get your copy today. Comment 21 day at the bottom, and I'll send you the link. Get it today. 21 accountability challenge. Listen, I can definitely say that, man. It's not only committing to self, but committing to the process, which takes a bigger commitment. And that's like what you show, right? You are that guy. You make sure that things go right. And if they go left, hey, listen, this is going to be all right. You know, like I would say with any guest that I've actually had on my podcast, and just learning about them has made me a better person, each and every one of them, you know. And one of the biggest things I've seen about you, and that I have understood since Podcast Summit and some other things, is like David Shands holds you accountable. You know, I believe Ash Cash holds you accountable. Nehemiah Davis, like some of these people that are around the way that have seen you, know you, work with you, or worked within the same parameters of you, like they say, you know that boy Tevin? Yeah, he's a credible dude. Like, and I just like say always, as they say, give them the respect that they need, that they're entitled to. And that's what I say, man. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. One of the things too, man, I have to say is that like, this ain't easy.
Never. No.
It's starting at the bottom, working your way to the top, get chopped down, part of your name,
90%. Yeah.
Chopped down, just to be like, okay, so that broke. Okay, boom, 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 boom. Now I'm up here again. And now when you're up here, it's like, people tend to be big-headed or prideful. That can be all shattered in the blink of an eye, you know? So like I have to say, man, I'm learning so much. This podcast industry is something that I'm really, 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 really enjoying. I'm passionate about it. And I've also learned, man, again, just with watching how the setup is, it's like, it takes some work. It's not easy. It's not 1, 2, 3. It's like, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to do this, I got to do that. But one thing, man, what makes you, or who holds you accountable?
Me. That's it. I mean, honestly, full transparency, I'm the only entrepreneur in my whole family.
Wow.
So it's kind of like, I don't have nobody who can really hold me accountable. Even like my business coach that I had went through his program and everything, like he doesn't necessarily hold me accountable today. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like taking the skills that I know, like I said, the intangibles, the things that I learned just in my journey, being an entrepreneur, and just holding myself accountable every day. Like I said, committing to everything that I commit to. It don't even matter what it is or who it's for, you know?
How long was your mentorship, and was it beneficial?
It was a year. It was beneficial for sure. It helped me in terms of like being a better businessman in the videography space.
Okay.
But you know, it was just kind of like one of those things where, you know, once the program pretty much ends, you got to learn how to, you know, drip or drown, as Gunner would say. You know what I mean? Like you got to kind of figure it out.
Yes, sir.
You know, it was definitely a dope program, and I learned a lot. Like I say, on the business side, I feel like, you know, I was pretty dope on the video side beforehand.
Hey, talk your shit.
Hey, listen,
if you felt like you was good,
you know,
like that,
I'm pretty good, man. I'm pretty good. See, you know what I'm saying? But
technically saying he's a really good guy.
You know,
he's the best at what he is.
Okay out here. You know, shout out, like I said, all my fellow videographers. But But yeah, just on the business side is where I was really lacking because I never really knew how to do real business for real. I always did business as a 9 to 5 for somebody else.
Right.
You know what I mean? So just having to like kind of put different mindsets on like how to attract leads, how to talk to people, how to get on calls, how to send invoices, what to say on the invoice, like a lot of things like that I didn't particularly know beforehand. And it definitely helped me a lot. So, like I said, after the program ended, it was just kind of like you take all the tools and how far can you go with it from there? And that's kind of pretty much what it's been. So I don't really have anybody holding me accountable to anything, honestly, other than me. I got my team right now. It's just a small team right now within the company, but at the end of the day, I'm still the one calling the shots on everything. So it's like, if I'm not holding myself accountable, I can't hold them accountable.
Right.
If I can't hold them accountable, then it's like none of us can be doing good business, So it's just kind of like one of those situations where I had to find accountability within myself. I'm always holding myself accountable just in every part of my life anyway. You know what I mean? That's just part of growth, in my humblest opinion. Like, you got to know how to hold yourself accountable to know where your thresholds are and how far you can take yourself moving forward. So without necessarily holding yourself accountable, a lot of people kind of fall from grace because of it, So just having a clear mindset on that, just naturally kind of bringing that into my business too, is what, the closest I get to holding myself accountable.
Y'all heard that. Mindset to accomplish your goals.
1,000%.
Like that's awesome. If it within your company, because it's small, what is your trajectory or vision for the next 5?
For the next 5, just be the guy who doesn't have to shoot anymore. So pretty much operating to a point where I am pretty much just structuring everything on the front end, having a COO that kind of like communicates with the team and just organizing different shoots for different people without me having to physically be the guy, holding the camera or setting it up or anything like that. Not necessarily having to worry about too many other things, and just kind of build out different factions of the business too. So right now we primarily focus on podcasting. We also do marketing content for entrepreneurs and businesses too. I wanted to start a separate faction that strictly focuses on video editing. Because I also teach editing as well. And because I teach editing as well, I also want to get into the nonprofit space of like showing the youth how to get into video production and having their own business at a young age. So those are like kind of the main goals that I have for the next 5 years. We definitely been working at it this year, every single one of those steps. And, it's definitely been a journey. We still got a ways to go, but, couldn't have it any other way.
That's awesome. Do you think that like you could ever be, well, how I want to answer that. Let me ask that over question. Do you think that you would ever want to be like anything else but what you do now?
I think that all the time.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, let me ask this way, because sometimes again, when things don't work out, or the epitome of your company is pivoting the other way and not this way, how do you fight those barriers of being like, yo, you know what, I'm just gonna throw this away? How do you keep going? What keeps you going?
At that point, it becomes one day at a time, brother. It's just one day at a time. Honestly, man, I feel like a part of it is so many different factors. For one, this is all I've been doing. I started doing my video production journey started in high school, senior year of high school to be exact. Right. So the fall of 2012 to the spring of 2013 when I graduated. Got my degree in film and video 2017 from Georgia State. So it's kind of like, I don't really have nothing really aside from this. If it's not this specifically, it'd be a variation of this and somewhere in the content creation space.
Okay.
Even in my I have a YouTube channel that I've been doing like with like TV reviews, just TV shows and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I've been doing that for like the last like 6 months or so, gotten like a decent amount of traction doing it, but just stuff like that where it's like I'm still constantly creating to some capacity. So, I don't know if you ever seen Snowfall before.
Yeah.
There was this one scene where Franklin, the main character, he's talking to his plug Avi, and Avi is telling him that he's a soldier, that Avi himself was a soldier, and that essentially what he sees in Franklin is that the war is inside himself because he can be anything. You know, he could be a drug dealer, but he could also be president. He could also be the head of a Fortune 500 company. He could be anything he wants to do. You know, it's just a matter of like where his mindset was to take him. And it just so happened that in the show, spoiler, Franklin's mindset was to sell drugs. For me, my mindset is to do videography. So it's just kind of like one of those things where, you know, I firmly believe I had the capacity to do anything I set my mind to because I've proven it to myself time and time again. But at the end of the day, even if I wasn't doing this full time as a business, I'd be doing it one way or another. So it's might as well make a business out of it.
Could you see yourself ever selling your company?
It had to be a good number.
Okay.
I had to see. I don't even want to put a number out there. But it had to be one of those I can't refuse numbers.
But because your business your business is like your baby.
For sure.
Because you saw it from the not making any money, not having any clients, not having the best of quality of things to now you revolutionize on everything, on every aspect, how you carry yourself, what type of equipment you actually invest in. And then the fact that you got a team. It's hard to build a team. Like people think that is easy, but it's not. Like, is there a few strategies that you looked at or that you used in order to build your team?
Man, the intangibles for one.
Okay.
Seeing how people move and just the quality of their work, the quality of their character, you know. I think a lot of people kind of just hire for the sake of what they need in the moment. I try to hire for the sake of like, how can we grow together? You know? So it's just kind of like, even with my main editor, you know, with him, I had to go through like at least two editors before him to even get to this point. And he's been with me since for about a year now, for a little bit over a year. And, you know, just knowing him, knowing he's a Christian, you know, we talk about a lot of things. I try to make sure that we tap in and make sure I give him his time back for his mental health, for his physical health and everything like that as well.
Right.
You know, but it's just kind of like, it's just one of those things where it's like people can be good for your business, but not necessarily good in your business. You know what I'm saying?
Wait, run that back one more time. Can you say it one more time for the people that missed that point?
People can be good for your business, but not necessarily in your business. So what does that mean exactly? Essentially, you can hire someone that's perfectly qualified, but because that person doesn't mesh with who you are as a person and where your business is going, they may not be the right person.
Listen,
you feel me?
Listen, I learned that the hard way.
I'm telling you.
I mean, I feel like people just people. They gonna do what they want, how they want, and if they feel like it, right?
1,000%.
You know, one of the biggest things that I've learned in this game is that what's for you is for you. What's for them is for them. What's for him or for her, that's that. It just is like straight cookie cutters like that. You know, one of the things I like to say is that, you know, being a entrepreneur, a soulpreneur, however preneur you want to be, I have to say it comes with uncalculated risk.
1,000%.
I also look at, if something happens, you can't hurt your hands. You can't break your hands because then you can't lift nothing. You can't shoot nothing. So anything that you do is like, yo, you want to go bowling? I might not go bowling right now because I got a major shoot coming up. Or I'll say this, study your craft. You went to school for your craft, and not saying that everybody has to go to school. So let's point that out.
I definitely will never be the guy to ever tell you to go to school to do this.
Right. So you heard that right. He's not I'm saying don't have to go to school, but if you did, you did. But what I'm saying is that when you honor your craft and give it its nutrients and building blocks, I believe that it's gonna be fine. Like, it's nothing to worry about. You can't be on the ends of it can't work. Like I said, when I heard that, like, I have no plan B. A is all I got. When I heard that, listen, I was just looking at it, I was like, man, my boy, this Tevin's here. He showed up. Okay. I showed up. Okay. this place that we're at. She showed up. And I was like, man, there is no other option but to get it done. And you definitely shared that and showed that to me, man, like that no matter how it looks, make it happen.
100%.
Because it's your business on the line. And that's what I'd say, like, to you guys, is that it's different when it's somebody else's business. And it might, or I should say, it may or may not mean as much to them as it means to you. No offense to anybody. So, but you have to take accountability of your business. And no matter what it is, if you really, really, truly want it, whether it's a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks out, and you know what it is, you're going to do it. You always going to make it happen. You know, of course, things happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, again, like I told you, man, I really thought about like just canceling. Yeah. Because it just, my mindset. But once I shifted and my mindset was different, man, and like just talking business with you or just knowing that you got this, man, just do it. Like, let me know. You really want it or you really don't, man. It's like, yeah, I got to do it. I got to do it. I can't not be there for me. Show up for myself. I'm building a community, man. It's called the Accountability Squad Community. And it's on the school app right now, man. And listen, I'm building this community because I know that accountability is the number one thing. And the people that I have around me, like I stressed earlier, like 5 people, but even more now. I was like, man, it's growing in my head. Like everything is audacious when you first start because you want all these things. You want the fancy cars, you want the big houses, you want all this aesthetic things. But you know what means most, man, is moments like this right here, man. It's like, wow, I'm looking at the lights, I'm looking at the camera. I'm like, man, this brother right here is saying, hey, this is what I started. It's all you do is go up from here. And so, like I say, I count on myself every time, and I can say I'm glad that I can count on you, man. I really, real shit though. Like I said, I really, really like that. And now, mostly anything, like the several or so people that I've interviewed, man, listen, I want to say thank everybody for showing up. Thanks for everybody for whoever thought about showing up. It's like one day, today's price is not going to be tomorrow's, or, you know, or next time's, or you can't get access to you because, you know, you so high in the chain, you know, your CEO, well, you're the CEO, so your COO will be handling things. And you'll be like, you can let him in. He's good. I want to get to that point too.
I mean, yeah, that's situational though, brother. I mean, obviously we'll let you go in for you regardless, but you gotta depend. I think a lot of what you're saying too, man, especially when it comes to accountability, and that's why I love your accountability challenge, is just that, man, it's all about mindset first and foremost. And I think that a lot of people, you know, even breaking out a mindset that brought us here today, even after what you just said of how you was ready to just give it all up, you know what I'm saying, just not even do today. Right. Like just having that opportunity to like get out of that mindset is super crucial because not everybody will do that. Right. People will let that negative feeling, that negative mindset keep them in whatever box that they feel like they're comfortable in. But it's like, it's the uncomfortability is where we grow. You know, I don't recall who told me that specifically, but I know someone told me that. So I don't even want to butcher your name. I'm sorry. But yeah, you just want to make sure that, you know, you keep your mindset in check, man, at all times. Like you just find peace within yourself and peace within what you're trying to do. Find peace within the things that you can control and let go of the things you can't. You know, and that's what gets you forward, man. If things you got to maneuver, just maneuver. You got to adjust. You got to adjust. You got to adapt. You got to adapt. It's no such thing as mistakes, only happy accidents. You know, shout out to Bob Ross.
Okay. You know wait, say that again. Wait, say that. I didn't get it.
It's no such thing as mistakes, only happy accidents.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody remember Bob Ross from The Joy of Painting. You can probably watch it on Tubi right now for free. It's on every single thing, but that's like one of my biggest.
I like that.
Creative inspirations have always been him and Basquiat. Like people who just didn't necessarily care about coloring within lines, metaphorically speaking.
But yeah, man, I think like a lot of what you just said is like definitely mindset, man. And I want to always say that I'm human, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm a person who, like, I think like outside the parameters, as you said, like color outside the lines or color within the lines. I like being outside the box with things. I like making sure that my vision comes to reality by any means. You know, if it's peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, it's peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You know, like, hey, it was lunchtime. I was hoping to grab a bite to eat, but it's like, yo, I got these little bit, a few chips right here, these little peanuts, and I'm gonna do that. Yeah. You know, but I was like, I thought about it, man. Something you said, I was like, man, you hungry? Nah, I'm good. You know, it's like, man, I'm a little hungry. And then, you know, I said to myself, it's mindset. It's like, I'm full with the Holy Spirit. I am filled with the glory of getting the job done. I'm filled with power. I'm filled with energy to keep going and persevere forward so that it makes it happen. Don't think about it happening. And so, like, when I was thinking about it, man, I was like telling myself, I was like, I just take a little snap break, a little snap break, little razzle dazzle. It did. Hey, man, I'm full. I'm good. Let's go. Right, drink a little water, wash it down. You know, man, he taught me something without actually having to teach me something. And I was like, man, when I got it, I was like, man, I'm gonna tell him at the end of the day, man, shoot, we ain't had nothing. You snacking on this, some little snack right here. But other than that, I'll be straight until it's over. Man. Shout out to the snacks.
Sometimes snacks will keep you going, man.
Yeah, man. I definitely would say that. Well, one of the biggest things too is being humble. Like, you're a humble individual.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
You know, I don't like say we don't know too much of we don't have to really like say backtrack your history, but it's just more so it's the energy. Like the lady said, when I walk into the room, if the energy is off, I ain't doing it.
For sure.
Hey, if something happens and I have to hesitate, I ain't doing it. It's like when I talked to you, I told you what my vision was. He's like, okay, we definitely work something out. You know, here, listen, give my number, X, Y, and Z. Let's execute, and we'll see what we can do. Cool. Visions out there. And I can say, like, one of these days, man, I'm going to do a vision board. Like, because when you say certain things, man, it's just ostracizing sometimes. And like, the power of the tongue is still so real. And sure. Like, I could definitely see your company doing astronomical numbers that you be like, hey, let's do something for the people. And you hosting the whole thing, or you're changing the demographics in our culture and outside of other people's culture, visiting these places that people want to be just like you. I feel like each and every one of you guys looking at this today, or featured, or in the future, I should say, this moment right here is in the 2000s. What? 2064, 2074. And they look back at what we're doing now. They're going to be like, man, they not only did it for the culture, they did it globally. And my best thing I like to say is reach one, teach one, man. And like without you saying anything, I learned something. So I was like, I'm cool about that, man. Like, no, wait, 2 times because of, you know, a little riffraff, and, you know, people will make you feel a certain way if you allow them to.
Yeah.
The lady told me today, I did my part. Now it's time for you to do yours. That's what I got, like, silently without saying it. But listen, that's what I got. And I like it. And I can definitely say, listen, when in doubt, call yourself out, show up for self, make it happen, have a plan. Always. And don't deter from it. If it's going to work, or I should say, better yet, if it's meant to work in God's timing or alignment, it will work.
Most definitely.
Would you hire your kids in this business, like to be in this business?
My future kids, yeah.
Yeah, future kids.
Yeah, future kids.
Sorry about that. Hey, future kids.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I think, man, content creation is growing so vast, so fast
Mhm.
that I think that anybody, no matter what you got going on, you should start a YouTube channel, have an Instagram page. You should be doing something by now. And even if it ain't consistent, like you posting once a month or something, like just something to get the feet wet, you know? Like I think that even with, you know, my handful of times of me speaking to kids has mainly been at my old high school, Miller Grove High School. Shout out to Miller Grove.
Miller Grove in the building
a few times. Yeah, we in the building, you know. Talked to the kids a few times, man. And, you know, a lot of things that, you know, I was echoing was just, man, like start your content creation today. Like if you start getting on Twitch today, you can be where Kai Cenat is by the time you're Kai Cenat's age. Realistically, like he didn't start off with 1 million people watching him.
Right.
But it's like he took the time to like cater to his audience to grow and to continue to keep going and being consistent. And that's all that really matters. So imagine doing that, but you 17, 18.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? You have nothing but time on your hands.
Right.
To build up something that could turn into $1 million for you. So It's just one of those things where it's like, man, like I'll tell any kid, you got a cell phone especially, man, start making content, whatever that looks like. Because content is king and it ain't going nowhere.
Right. I can definitely,
like it's not going nowhere.
I can definitely see that, man. I also would say that like for your future kids to look back at this podcast and be like, hey, that was my dad. And everything that he's saying, listen, I'm a living legend. Like I feel like what you are ordained to do is live a life of legacy. And with that life comes with a great deal of responsibilities and accountability too. But they're gonna be like, yo, guess what my dad was? He was a podcaster. No, not only was he a podcaster, man, he was a coach, he was a mentor, he was a leader. I can see that for you, man. Like I say, those things that come forth to you, man. Like I said, being where you are, what other advice would you give people?
Biggest piece of advice, keep going. That's the advice that I get told a lot too. Even in my times of doubt, when I gotta call my friends and let them know, like, hey, I'm going through X, Y, Z. This didn't work out. That didn't work out. Whatever.
Right.
First thing they always tell me is keep going. So that's my first thing. You know. Second thing, man, don't be afraid to try new things as much as possible.
Okay.
You know, like I said, content creation is so vast now more than ever, and there's so many ways that you can get your face and your name out there to people. You shouldn't always try to pigeonhole yourself doing one thing. You know, it's one thing as a business person to have a niche, and that's completely understandable. But it's like sometimes you don't know what your niche is until you fall into it.
Right.
You know, even with me, I didn't get into podcasting thinking I was going to make it a part of my business. I bought all the podcasting gear because I wanted to do my own podcast.
Right.
You feel me? So it's just kind of like one of those things where I fell into it, I enjoyed it, and now I get the pleasure of doing it for people like you, like doing it for other people. So it's just kind of like one of those things where, you know, if I hadn't fell into it, who knows what I'd be doing right now? You know, so it's just one of those things, like I said, like just be sure to always try new things. Just keep going as much as possible. Stay consistent as much as possible. And build the best relationships that you possibly can with people. Don't do people wrong. Don't talk crazy to people unless they talk crazy to you. That's a whole nother thing. That's more situational per se. But in general, you always just want to be respectful to people. You always want to do right by people as much as possible. And you want to be upfront and honest with people as much as possible too.
I definitely like that, man. I'm thinking so much like right now, just paving the way forward. I believe, like I said, there is for me some people on my roster that I would love to pave the way to get to them. And it's going to happen, man. I'm going to manifest it. I'm going to use like the words and the knowledge that you actually said today, man. And again, I just want to point out this real quick. Listen, this 21-day accountability challenge workbook. Listen, guys, in 3 weeks, you can change old habits into new habits. You can do everything within 3 weeks, man. Guaranteed. The only reason why I'm guaranteed is because I went through it and I've had several people of testimonies that people have went through it. But I also love, man, every time I look at it, man, I keep saying I'm showing up for myself. I'm showing up for my community. I'm showing up for people. And not only that, I got to show up for my boys. So
Sure.
I'll always tell you that you, man, I'm glad you made today possible. I'm glad today was a good day. And man, if they wanted to get in touch with you, man, how can they get in touch with you, man?
Man, anywhere you at, I'm at somehow, some way. So my name on Instagram is Tevin El Chapo, TevinElChopo. Again, TevinElChopo. That'll be on Instagram. That's on TikTok. That's my YouTube channel. You can try Snapchat. I ain't been on there in years, but that's my name on there too. You can also, just hit the website, chophouse.mediagroup.com. You can also go to Chop House Media Group on Instagram as well. Just shoot me a message. Honestly, if you shoot me a message on my main page, Tevin El Chapo, that'd probably be the easiest way to get to me. Just feel free to talk to me. If you have any questions about your podcast, we can get on the call. If you're trying to get a setup similar to this, just let me know. If you have any tips, tricks, or anything that you need to get your podcast to the next level, to get your marketing content to the next level, feel free to hit your boy up.
Hey, man, you heard it first. You heard it fresh off the press. And listen, if you ever want to be on Real Shit Let's Talk podcast, hey, man, listen, the link will be down there or over here. Just send it a DM or an email. I'll get it and I'll get back to you, as well as, hey, I got an accountability squad community that I believe that you should be a part of. And the only real reason why you should be a part of it is because you want to change everything around you, be in the room with like-minded people. Not only that, you want to also inherit better skills, better achievable, measurable goals, and have people around you that will be accountability partners. Not only that, your destination at the end is just the start of the beginning. And that's like a little asinine backwards, but guess what? We're here. Look up ASC, type that in the school community app. You'll see it. Accountability Squad community, man. Y'all check us out, man. Listen, Tevin did it for me. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
Mr. El Chapo, but in the media. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. We don't sell drugs. We don't sell I want to make sure I say that. Some people do get that misconception. I do not sell drugs. I spelled it that way. A lot of people don't know El Chapo is actually spelled with an A, not two O's. I did that on purpose. So CHOP is actually an acronym, creating hope, optimism, and positivity.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty much everything that we do in our business, whether we're doing it for you to make sure you elevate your business to that level, or just how we interact with people naturally on a day-to-day basis. So feel free to check me out. Like I said, Tevin El Chapo on Instagram. And don't forget to subscribe to the Real Shit Let's Talk
podcast. Yeah, on YouTube and all social media handles. Listen, let's get these views up, man. Let's get comments. Comment, man. Even if you don't like it, comment. It's cool, because guess what? I'm gonna keep doing what I'm doing. It's Chavo gonna keep doing what he doing. Everybody gonna keep living. The day still go on. But listen, click like, subscribe, YouTube on all social media platforms. And hey, listen, it'll be around too coming soon, because it's gonna be on a whole nother level, and we might be in a different part of the world and be like, yo, you remember that one episode? Look where we at now, But there's transitions, transformational, transformal, and transparent, man. Listen, thank y'all. Real Shit Let's Talk podcast. Hey, y'all tune in. Peace.